Let's talk about your arrest. Was that the first time that you were attempting to converse with a member of Congress? I think you were just in the hallway, right? Was that the first time that you were arrested for that activity?
Yes, we've been arrested many times in the hearings, and we know when we speak up in the hearings that we're at risk of arrest. And there are many groups that come to the Capitol that stage beautiful acts of nonviolent civil disobedience. We've seen Jewish Voice for Peace, we've seen Christians for a Ceasefire, wonderful actions that the Mennonites have done, and they know they will be arrested. But in this case, I was doing what I do on a regular basis, which is walk down the halls. I find a member of Congress and I run after them and ask them, will they comment on some issue of the day? This was the day after the Israelis had attacked the Hamas negotiators in Qatar. And I thought it was important. You know, there are journalists all over Congress who are constantly putting their microphones in the faces of members of Congress. I wasn't even near him. I was following behind him or aside him, and I asked him what he thought of Israel's attack on Qatar. And he was so nasty and went into his office, and I just gently touched the door opening a public place in the office. I mean, anybody can walk into his office. And he immediately told his staff person to grab my phone, and he said that I was violating the law by entering his office. First, I wasn't in his office, and second, it's no violation to enter a congressperson's office. Well, I just thought, I said, you're out of your mind and you're nasty, and if you touch me, it's an assault. And I went away thinking, what a nasty guy. And then about 15 minutes later, these not very nice police officers came up and said that Daryl Issa had lodged a complaint against me and wanted me arrested. I showed them the video and they looked at the video and they said, there's nothing there. You didn't do anything wrong. And so I was there for a long time while they were debating whether to let me go, which I thought would happen, or to arrest me. But it turns out the inspector general got involved. Issa wouldn't drop it. And so he had me arrested, and I have to go back to court on October 9th. And I think this is part of an attempt by members of Congress to give me a stay away order, which means a judge in the interim between your case coming up and being adjudicated, they can tell you you can't go back into Congress. And given that there are members of Congress like this very right-wing woman, Anna Paulina Luna, who has asked the Speaker to keep Code Pink out of Congress, I think this is part of that activity. I am hoping that the judge will see how ridiculous it is and will drop the case, but you never know.
Let's talk about Trump and RICO and his statements in the Oval Office about Code Pink.
And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had four the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, oh, you know, something with Palestine. And I said, well, I'm doing a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of awards for that, right? With the Abraham Accords and everything else. But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. The people, there were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. All she was a paid agitator. And you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against it, criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing to this country is really subversive.
Yes, there were a group of Code Pink women for women who had gone into a restaurant where Trump ended up having dinner, and they were able to be very close to him and shouted out their opposition to U.S. troops, the National Guard troops in Washington, D.C., as well as the occupation of Palestine. And they were told to leave, and they were escorted out, and it was all very civil, actually. And then after that, we hear him talking about these horrible people. You know, he calls these leftists lunatics, and maybe they should be arrested for RICO. I mean, I think that's just him mouthing off, just like he said Soros should be arrested and everybody should be arrested, because really it was just a prime example of the use of our First Amendment rights.
And why is that activity important? Confronting figures in power, which is, of course, one of the primary activities of Code Pink.
Code Pink, since our founding, and it's over 20 years now, we've confronted every single president in power. We've confronted the vice presidents. We've confronted the secretaries of state, just like we confront the members of Congress in Congress, because we think they need to hear from us. And so often they isolate themselves. They have press conference, but oftentimes it's very selective who gets to ask a question and how they're asked. We think that they need to be confronted when they are doing horrible things like making wars. And every single one of our presidents has made war, whether it's Bush during the terrible invasion of Iraq, or it was Obama when we confronted him about the use of drones for killing anybody he wanted to, anywhere he wanted to, and the continuation of holding people in Guantanamo. It's up to us, and I feel that it's a duty of citizens to confront our officials when they are doing such horrible things: war, torture, extrajudicial killings. We have to speak up.
Do you think that direct confrontation has an effect on power?
I think it does. I remember when I confronted Barack Obama, and it was actually kind of a conversation that we were having, and they were trying to arrest me. And I remember saying to the officer, "Shh, you better not arrest me. I'm having a conversation with the president," which gave me more time. And we had a back and forth. And when I was finally dragged out, he said, the issues that woman brings up, it's funny you said young woman because I'm 10 years older than him, are issues that are worth listening to. And those were the issues of how can we be holding people in Guantanamo that never had a trial, that never were convicted of anything? How can we be killing U.S. citizens like Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old U.S. citizen killed by U.S. drone strike? And also about the U.S. Involvement in war that we shouldn't be in. So I think, yes, that was an example where we did have a real conversation. And we see how those kinds of interactions, those kinds of interruptions of power also inspire other people. And it might not inspire them to do that kind of direct confrontation of somebody like a president, but it does inspire them to directly confront their member of Congress. And I don't know if you saw during the August recess, Chris, all the different people who confronted their members of Congress at the town hall meetings. It was just beautiful to see. And so I think those direct confrontations do have an impact.
But I can't see Trump or Stephen Miller or J.D. Vance having a conversation with you.
Well, you never know. I think you have to try it. I mean, we have had conversations with Marco Rubio when he was a senator. And yes, sometimes it's just yelling back and forth. But I think we need to try to have, whether it's a conversation or whether it's what we call strategic interruption. We have to keep doing that. And that's part of defending our right to free speech. You know, better than anyone, Chris, how it's being assaulted in so many different ways. But if we don't keep using it and keep pushing it, we will definitely see it taken away.